Canada is a beautiful country. However, if you look at the economy, the last decade has not been good. More recently, I feel like the social situation is also getting worse. If you talk to Canadians, they'll tell you how things used to be so nice back in the day, but in the last 10 years, and especially in the last 5 years, things have gotten really bad. Even I can vouch for the last 5 years. I moved here in 2019 and things have only gotten worse since the time I got here. Now, I'm also aware of the fact that a lot of people might not like me talking about this. There's a growing impatience and resentment towards newcomers and immigrants like myself, tensions that reflect deeper economic and social anxieties. I really don't blame anybody for thinking like this. Things aren't looking good. But the reality is that no matter what happens in the world, no matter what happens with the economy, you have to stay in charge of your financial situation. This video is all about that. Let's begin. Let's start by acknowledging a simple fact. Things are going to continue getting worse in 2025. There are plenty of reasons for this. Let's look at some of them. Starting with persistent inflation and sluggish economic growth. GDP growth is chugging along at just around 1.5%. Prices for essentials like groceries and fuel keep inching higher, hitting all income levels quite hard. There are fewer job openings, that means stiffer competition and stagnating wages. There are two main problems that I'm seeing in Canada right now that could be a reflection of all the other problems. The first is that the GDP, but especially the GDP per capita, is almost stagnant. The second one that I have firsthand seen is that there are fewer jobs and the wages are almost stagnant. People are having a hard time finding a job, and in fact they are having a hard time keeping their jobs as well. The second part I actually see improving this year, however the first part I don't have much hope for. The second reason is everything to do with politics. Trudeau recently decided that he'll be stepping down, and this has led to a leadership vacuum at a very important point. The Liberal Party has done an incredibly bad job of addressing housing and cost of living issues. This has led to widespread criticism. So the Prime Minister decided to step down. However, he also decided that we should hold the government hostage for the next couple of months until they can decide what they want to do next. It's quite a horrible situation. This is also happening at a terrible time as Trump is taking office on the 20th of January, and there are threats of tariffs and lots of uncertainty when it comes to the trade situation. Other than that, we also have the third problem, that is tensions around immigration. With fewer jobs and increased cost of living, people are channeling their frustrations towards immigrants. There are already reduced immigration targets that can slow economic growth further. So this one is a quite sticky situation where Canada really needs more immigration. However, in the last couple of years, the immigration policies have not been good. I often say one of the worst things that has happened in Canada in the last couple of years is that a lot of people have turned against immigration. This was mostly due to the bad immigration policies that were put in place. I think it's a good time to slow down immigration, however, there will be negative impacts on the economy. But the real question is, will the immigration policy changes impact the housing affordability crisis? This is our fourth point. Rent in cities like Toronto and Vancouver have nearly doubled over the last 5 years. Most younger Canadians are forced to live with their parents or move to smaller towns. At the same time, for homeowners, mortgage renewals at higher rates are stretching homeowners' budgets thin. So this is no secret. Everybody around the world knows about the Canadian housing crisis. It's getting worse and worse. Will it get better in 2025? I don't think so. The problems we have today cannot be fixed overnight. They cannot even be fixed in 1 to 2 years. It requires a couple of years to actually fix. And that can only happen once we have new leadership in charge and they can actually implement some policy changes. So this is one of those areas where I actually do not see much happening in the next 1 to 2 years. Finally, I want to talk about one more thing. All of these problems are actually having a huge negative impact on the society. I'm talking about societal stress and the general mental health crisis. Constant financial strain can lead to anxiety, depression, and burnout. People who are feeling left behind are looking for scapegoats or dropping out of the job market. Social tensions are rising when stories of those making it seem fewer and far between. I hear this all the time. I talk to my friends, I talk to people all over the place. Nobody is really happy with what's going on. Even people with good jobs, even people with great jobs are struggling to actually build up their wealth. So let's talk about it. What can we do? What did I do? And what should you be doing at this point in 2025? A lot of concepts that I'll cover in this video are not new concepts. Consider this a reminder for all the people who need one. Even I'm using this video as a way to remind myself that even though times are tough, I need to be tough and continue on my financial journey. So here's the reality. No matter what happens in the world, the basic skills that we need do not change. Even the basic money management skills that we require do not change. So here's what you should do. First is you need to focus on growing your career and boosting your income. I know, this is easier said than done, but however, you have to make this a priority in 2025. Start by building in-demand skills. Identify growth industries like tech and healthcare in Canada and try to upskill accordingly. If needed, seek short certifications or boot camps to update or add to your skill set. So as I mentioned, the job market in Canada is quite tough right now. However, we are also living in an era where learning something new is the easiest it's ever been. You can actually upskill quite fast even using something like ChatGPT nowadays. So continue focusing on building out skills that can get you better jobs. I've firsthand seen my friends do this. Next, you need to network proactively. Try to attend local and virtual meetups if necessary. You also might have to play the LinkedIn game to get noticed. Networking always works really well in North America, so you have to focus on that. Especially if you want to work in any upcoming sector, you have to get to know the people who are doing that. There aren't a lot of people doing that in Canada right now. However, there are some incredibly skilled people who are doing this. You just have to seek them out. Next, try to find ways to diversify your income streams. Freelance through platforms like Upwork or Fiverr if necessary. Monetize your creative hobbies like photography, art, or craft. You can also sell your work online. Consider part-time counseling or remote gigs. Now, I'll be honest with you. These are all things that I have done in the past to make some money. When I was studying, I was trying to write resumes for other people and making thousands of dollars. I've also done photography in the past to make a lot of money. So if you really need it, you can build up multiple sources of income, at least till you find a really good job. But what you shouldn't do is just sitting around waiting for good things to happen to you. That's not how the world is working right now. Just keep an open mind, keep upskilling, try to get hired into a new job. If that's not possible, try to do other things and make some more money on the side. And if you continue upskilling, you will find a good job that will pay you more than what you're making today, and I promise you that. So this was all about making money, but the most important thing is how you spend your money. So that brings us to point number 2, that you have to spend intentionally. First, you have to start by using a detailed budget. Track every purchase for at least 1 month to see where the money goes. Sort expenses into different categories. Compare monthly outflows to your total take-home pay and identify areas to cut. You also need to optimize your grocery shopping. Try to plan your meals as much as possible. Stop eating out all the time. Reduce your costs as much as possible. Also try to use apps like Reebee and Flip to find good deals in the market. I've actually been using these and I've saved hundreds of dollars over the years. It might not seem like a lot, but those $10 savings twice a week adds up quite quickly. Then try to eliminate unnecessary bills and subscriptions. Cancel streaming services that you rarely use. Rotate them if you really enjoy multiple platforms. Call your internet or phone service providers to negotiate better deals. Also make sure to keep track of recurring fees. Use an app if necessary. This is something I noticed recently, that I had been paying more for my phone connection. Every quarter I do an analysis of my bills and that's when I caught it. I immediately went to my account and changed my plan. Finally, one more thing I want to say is that practice conscious decision making when it comes to spending money. Here are some simple things that you can do. Apply the 24 to 72 hour rule. Wait 1 to 3 days before buying a non-essential item. Set aside no spend weekends each month using free activities and home cooked meals. Finally, try to swap some brand name goods for store brands or generic labels where quality is quite similar. Now, these are all things that I employ in my life. These are not just theories that I'm sharing with you. I truly believe that these work, and if you just give it a try, you will see that they will work for you as well. As you'd expect, the next point I want to talk about is that you need to save like a maniac. I know you want to live your life freely, but tough situations call for tough measures. Sometimes in the short run, you have to give up some things to make sure that you have a good life in the future as well. And the next 2 points that I'm going to talk about are all about that. You need to start by creating and protecting an emergency fund. This is something that I have mentioned so many times in my videos. Aim to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high interest savings account, no matter what their interest rate is. You can start by automating a fixed transfer from each paycheck so you consistently add to your emergency fund. The main thing I'll say is that this is an emergency fund and you will not touch it no matter what happens. You have to only touch it if it's an emergency. Going on vacation, it's not an emergency. A medical situation, that's an emergency. The second thing is that you need to set concrete savings goals. Define your targets. What are you saving for? A car, a down payment, a vacation? Whatever you do, just make sure you are saving in a more targeted manner. Break each goal into achievable monthly contributions so it doesn't feel very overwhelming. Track your progress visually, use a spreadsheet, an app, or a simple chart on the wall. Just make sure that you are tracking it and approaching everything in a very proper manner. You also need to leverage high interest savings account. Look for promotional rates around 3 to 5%, which can help your emergency fund grow passively. So this one will continue getting harder because interest rates have been coming down, but try to find as high an interest rate as possible just for your saving situation. There's one more point that could be very closely related to savings, and that is your debt situation. You need to first reduce your debt for greater saving capacity. Prioritize any high interest debts such as credit cards, personal loans, as they erode your income faster. Try to apply whichever method suits you, whether it's the snowball method or the avalanche method. So people might tell you that you should start by paying off your debt first, but what I say to people is that you should try to do everything all at once. Try to save your money, pay down your debt, and invest some of your money, no matter how small these things are. Most of your money should be going towards debt payments. However, you should also spend some of your money towards savings and investing. Talking about investing brings us to the last point, that you need to invest very, very wisely. I know I've spoken a lot about hardships, and now I'm talking about investing. If people are not really making their ends meet, how will they invest? But I'm here to tell you that it's possible. No matter how small, you can start by investing some of your money. Even if it's as small as $50 a month, you should always invest your money. Even when I was paying off my high student debt, I continued investing. Sometimes I would invest $50, sometimes 100, and sometimes even 200, but I never stopped investing. I have many videos about investing. I've spoken about investing in AI. I've spoken about how to tackle investing from different point of views. I've spoken about crypto, Bitcoin, different stocks, US stocks, everything. You can find all those videos on my channel. I'm just going to touch upon some of the basics in this video. The most important point is to start by maximizing all your tax sheltered accounts. Contribute to your TFSAs, use your RRSPs, and also start using your FHSA even if you have no plans of buying a house. For quick reference, here are the contribution limits for 2025. You have to think a little ahead. By putting some money towards these accounts, you might actually make a lot more money back. You could be making thousands of dollars back in tax refunds just by utilizing these accounts, so please make sure you prioritize them. While you do that, also try to make sure that you're diversifying your portfolio. The simplest way to do this is to actually buy the S&P 500 or the total market index even in Canada. Try to create as much diversification as possible as you slowly grow your portfolio. If you already have a huge investment portfolio, try to keep it diversified. More recently, I spoke about why it's so important to be invested in the US market right now, so feel free to check out that video as well. Again, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about investing in this video because I have many videos about it. But the last point I want to talk about is to review and rebalance regularly. I do this every quarter. I go into all my investments, see how they are doing and what I'm doing with those investments, and try to take some proactive measures to improve them. The two rules that I'm following closely right now is to stay interested and invested in market trends, but avoid panic selling if stocks dip temporarily. And secondly, I'm still focused on long-term growth and not chasing short-term returns. Overall, try to keep a long-term mentality. You have to invest for years to come and you should start doing it today. You have to secure your future by starting today. I feel like there's a lot more I could be talking about when it comes to investing, but I also feel like that's what I usually do on my channel anyway, and I shouldn't do too much of it in this video. If you want to check out some of them, feel free to do so. Also, please subscribe so you can catch some of my future videos. As I close this video, I want to say a couple of things to you. You cannot change politics. You cannot change the economy on your own. But what you can do is take control of your financial situation. Progress happens incrementally. Each month you save, every attempt to cut unnecessary spending, every skill upgrade you pursue, all move you closer to stability and long-term financial success. This journey is shared by many, whether you are in this country or in a different country, whether you move to this country or move out of the country. You should be fully in control of your financial destiny all your life. Sometimes things get tough. Sometimes things get tough for many years, but you have to stay tough as well. Don't let anybody take it from you. Do not let anybody sway you from your financial path. Go into 2025 with that mindset and you will come out more successful. I'll see you next week in a new video. Till then, keep learning and stay on top of your finances. Until next time.